Coming to Curiosity Stream. Go on an adventure 66 million years in the making with Dino Week. From new discoveries about the dinosaurs we thought we knew, to the mind-blowing species still being unearthed, and the controversial discovery that could rewrite history. Did dinosaurs survive longer than imagined? Dino Week on Curiosity Stream. And with monthly, annual, and bundled pricing plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Check out great deals at Safeway. This week at Safeway, 1 pound of strawberries or 6 ounces of blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries are 3 for $12. Member price. Plus get value packs of USDA Choice Boneless Beef Tri-Tip Roast, untrimmed twin packs for $3.87 per pound with digital coupon. Limit 2 packages. And local green or red seedless grapes for the member price of $1.88 per pound. Also at Safeway, 16 ounces of Jenny O Turkey. Selected varieties are buy one, get one free. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more deals.
This is Matt Harvey with Deep Woods Paranormal. My wife Amanda is sitting across from me. We're going to have a conversation tonight about the Normandy Inn. And we're going to be talking about setup and all the research we did. This will be part 1 of part 2. Amanda's going to come on in just a second here and talk about how we got this case and a little bit more about some of the information that she has for this location.
Months ago, almost a year ago, my friend came to me and said, "Hey, my dad owns this haunted house. It's from the 1900s in Galveston, and one of these days you should go and investigate it." Well, due to us both being busy and time flies by, we just now went and investigated the house. But this house, it's located in Galveston, about a mile from the Pleasure Pier, and it's a 3-story house with about 24 rooms, 27 rooms.
27, yeah.
If you count the kitchen and the dining room and the extra. I would say it's probably a butler's pantry. The house originally was an inn. And then before that, originally, it was like a boarding house, which is like an inn now. And it was held in that way until about 2004. And then, if I'm right, the dates, I might be off by the dates, but Hurricane Ike came and it decimated the area. As you know, the water table was up at least 6 foot high, so that house flooded. When it did, the person who owned the house, he passed away, left it to his brother, and his brother lost it to the bank, and my friend's dad purchased it. So it's actually been sitting vacant and empty. So everything was emptied out of the home. There is no electricity. There is no water. So you can't use anything. And it's basically just walls and drywall. So as you can imagine, that posed a problem trying to investigate this house. But it is a very large house on a small lot. So if you think about something like New York or a major city, LA, Houston, it's similar to that. And then it has like very little grass around it. So it's basically in a concrete jungle, but a 1900s house. There's multiple 1900 houses in that area as well. So it's a really old part of Galveston.
Yeah, and that house and the homes around it, we were talking to your friend's friend that basically doesn't own the house. She basically runs the properties around it.
She's a property manager.
Yeah, she's an apartment manager essentially. And she was saying that there's 9 homes that are all supposed to be very haunted all around that area. In fact, they do ghost tours out there too. So we did a lot of research into this home. We wanted to find out what was factual, what was real. I mean, they call it the Satanic demon house.
The entry to hell.
Yeah, so when you first walk into the right, the first room on the right, there was actually real satanic rituals done in that room, and there was all kinds of different satanic sayings written up on the wall and prayers to Satan and all kinds of stuff.
And that happened recently because Kitten was the one, and that's the manager of the house. She manages homes. She was the one who came when the police called and had it cleaned and fixed.
Yeah. So, I mean, we went through and we just trying to find any information. I went to the historical societies. They couldn't provide me with any information. They did, however, tell me that they could give me the owner's name. Also, back in the 1900s, I believe it was 1909 or 1910, there was another hurricane. This is before radar and all this other stuff, and it wiped the island off the face of the earth, essentially.
That was the 1900s.
Yeah, so essentially
Early.
almost 10,000 people died in floods and just because of that hurricane.
In fact, historic places around the area have plaques saying they survived the 1900s hurricane.
Yeah, and they actually show where Hurricane Ike's water levels came up to. There was a restaurant we went to, and we were talking to the owner, and he was very nice. And he was saying, yeah, there's a plaque right there. It was up that high. I mean, it's a restaurant, but it's a house. A lot of these little businesses down there are old homes from the 1900s or whatever that have been restored and turned into businesses or whatever. Anyways, getting back to the former Normandy Inn here. Like I was saying earlier, we researched the location, top and bottom, contacted historical societies, the libraries, look for any information on this house regarding any kind of satanic rituals done in the house. Also, voodoo was performed by some of the locals because they were so afraid of the satanic house that they wanted to counteract the negative energy it was causing in the area. The locals call it the gateway to hell. Go ahead.
I could just think the people would find it interesting that they're actually trying to contact the city under religious beliefs to try to take over the house for a satanic portal. So people who are Satanists, I don't know how to say it, are trying to contact the city to take over the house for religion, which isn't going to happen. It's a privately owned house.
Back in the day, in my research that I looked into, they talk about cannibalism. They talk about satanic rituals happening all over the island. They talk about the old owner being very into satanic rituals and stuff like that. We'll talk about that more in our second podcast. Like I said, this is part 1 of part 2. On this part, we're just going to kind of talk about our setups and our research and all that fun stuff. We found that we could find researching. Part 2, we'll talk about some of our findings and our investigation and all that stuff. So this place has supposedly a lot of ties to different murders. There's a place called the Killing Fields, and that's down on the edge of Houston. You can do some of your own research on it. I did. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to figure out if this killing field had any ties to the house, if it was tied to any of the satanic rituals that supposedly went on in the house. Supposedly there's 30 bodies that were buried in this plot of land between the oil fields down there and an old church. And I guess investigators found 29 females between the age of 16 and 30. And they say they've never solved any of these murders. And it was said that they were killed by different serial killers. So I don't know if that points back to the satanic rituals that happened in the house or what. We just were not sure. Supposedly when they were renovating the house back in the day, they actually found they were doing irrigation out front, putting in new sprinklers and stuff, and they actually supposedly found a backbone, and it was wrapped with barbed wire. And they said that was part of the religious or satanic religious rituals that happened in the house. Other stories that have circulated through the house, but we have not been able to find out, is that the son supposedly killed the dad in the house. I can't verify if that's true or not. I've not been able to find any information on that. I haven't found any death records or anything like that. We do know that the daughter of the first owner did die in the house. She died of tuberculosis or something when she was about 3 months old. And we did have an encounter with a couple of little kids. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. And then people on the tour supposedly go around and they take a lot of pictures in the windows with the tour guide outside. And supposedly they've caught pictures of entities in the house. So we did the same thing when we first got there. Like Eric and Aaron walked around and basically took pictures outside, and they looked to see if they could get any apparitions. In fact, I actually went up into the third. Whoa, sorry, bear with me here. We're in the middle of a pretty good thunderstorm. That's not that's not added in. That was actually really thunder, and that's the dog screaming at it because she doesn't like it. Okay, Tink. Great not to be doing a podcast when it's pouring rain and thunder and lightning outside. We tried to debunk a lot of the stuff in the house. We only wanted to deal with what was real. I know Amanda and Elena both had experience in the house, and I want them to talk about that in the next podcast, part 2 of this.
I think that we should talk about how we actually did our setup and what we did that day, because it was very difficult.
Yeah, so when I first started planning for this about a month ago, Amanda goes, okay, so there's no running water, there's no power, and if you have to go to the bathroom, you basically have to go find an open gas station or something. Bring your own food, whatever. So we just brought a lot of snacks and stuff. So we have power banks. We have a home security system that we basically plugged a lot of cameras in. I think we have 13 cameras. Some of them are domes. Some of them are...
They're all motion sensor cameras.
Yeah, they're all motion sensor. They pick up people. They pick up voices, which is cool. So essentially, we had all that set up through the whole house. There wasn't a whole lot of areas where there wasn't some kind of camera. We also do...
But those cameras are... They plug into their own power banks. So we bought power banks for each of those cameras, and then we have a iPad in which we connect to all those cameras, and we have our own Wi-Fi system that we bring with us to investigations.
Right, we have a horrible hotspot. So it took about 3 or 4 hours to basically set up all of the... Bear with me, we're about to get thunder here. It took about 3 or 4 hours to set all that up.
In the heat, there's no air conditioning, no fan. In the middle of spring, it was 80 degrees outside.
Yeah, and it's about 70 to 80% humidity, so it felt like it was 100 degrees in the house. Can't get any windows open because they basically...
They're all boarded shut.
Right, and they've screwed any of the windows that you can get, that don't have a board in front of it. They basically have screwed shut or nailed shut. So
because the house has been vacant so long, people have broken into it.
Right, and we were warned, okay, make sure you close that front door and lock it because people will just walk right in on you. Unfortunately, they had a lot of vagrants and people that squatted in the house. So they were very, they said, okay, hey, watch out for this because people will sometimes walk right in. Anyway, so we got the camera set up, and I sent Eric and Aaron to basically please go do an EVP session through the house, which they did.
During the day?
During the day, yeah, because our investigations not only run during the night, they also run during the day. So essentially, they spent about an hour while I was setting up cameras quietly doing EVP sessions. They started in the Satanic room. They worked their way over to the voodoo room. And they went through what I call the voodoo room. So let me explain this. So when you walk in the front door to the right, first bedroom, so that's considered the Satanic room. When you come out of that room and make your first left, that's considered the voodoo room. That's where they basically cast spells to hopefully keep the negative energy from spreading outside the house. And then you walk down the way, and there's I think there's one more bedroom on the right. And then you keep walking. There's the stairs up to the 3rd story. Really cool set of stairs. And then you walk forward, and then there's another bedroom on the left. And then you walk into this beautiful, beautiful open dining room. It's got to be 25, 30 feet wide, probably at least 15, 20 feet deep. You could have a beautiful dining room table on there and stuff. And then you keep walking, and there's like a kitchen area. And then off to the left, you go through another door, and there's these beautiful old ice boxes. They're not even refrigerators, they're ice boxes. They must be probably original to the house. And but it's just all empty. Bear with me, it's just pouring out right now. So anyways, yeah, so we basically set up cameras throughout that whole area. You go up the next set of stairs to the 2nd floor. When you get to the 2nd floor landing, That's where the little girl, one of the little girls supposedly haunts. If you turn to your left at the landing, there's actually a bathroom there. And unfortunately, supposedly she was killed when some kind of gas furnace exploded below her. And great way to go, right? Sorry, the lightning keeps distracting me. But great way to go. You're in the middle of using the restrooms and all of a sudden, boom. So she basically haunts that area. If you continue down that hallway to the left, you come to the very end last bedroom, which is about 3 bedrooms down. And supposedly that's where the little kid actually died. She was about 3 months old. And she died of what we were saying before. It was either tuberculosis or it was some kind of disease like that back in the 1900s that they didn't have a cure for. So supposedly that door, Kitten was saying that door will actually slam shut on its own. So we put a paint can in front of it to hold it open because if it closed, you've got something. I mean, the paint can was pretty heavy. So if that door could close, plus that window up there unfortunately was busted out, and so a breeze could just basically, make that door slam. But also there was a window that Kitten was telling me to the left of there, down a hallway where there was some cabinets outside that bedroom, and she said that somehow that window, and it's like a full ceiling to floor window, will pull open. I went over there and yanked on that thing, and it was not budging. It wasn't having it. So I have no idea how that could happen. We set up cameras all on that floor. We went up to the 3rd level. Let me backtrack just a little bit. On the landing of the 2nd floor, we left like a slinky and an old wooden yo-yo. We left a little doll, a little bear, a stuffed animal bear, and a few other things with a K2 there to see if it would light up. And of course we had a dome camera focusing on it. And then we went up to the 3rd level. We did the same thing. We left a few things on that level as well. But that was pretty much our prep. We try and leave. We do what's called settling. We try and leave cameras running by themselves without any interference, no one in the house. Because if we get something, we get footsteps, or we get an apparition, or we get something, we know that door's locked. We know nobody's in there. We have motion sensors throughout the house. A chime when somebody comes by. We purposely set those up. They never went off, but we did that just in case, stuff like that. So we did have the cameras actually go off quite a few times while we were at dinner. My phone kept doo-doo every 5 seconds, it seemed like. And we did get some interesting anomalies on camera. But again, we'll talk about that more in the next podcast, part 2 of this.
So we investigated all in the house, and then we also metal detected on the grounds because they did find that backbone with the barbed wire wrapped around. So we took the metal detector and swept the grounds as well.
And one thing I forgot to mention is I got there first. I got the key. I basically went up to the door. I unlocked the door, and when I first opened that door, it was like thick and heavy, and you're not welcome here, that feeling. And I don't know if that was just because I was psyched about being there or what. But so I took the gear, basically I stacked it at the door, and then slowly but surely started bringing it in, set up the home base table, started setting the video cameras up and stuff like that, set the iPad down so I could monitor the cameras as I was going. But before I even got to set one camera, and again, I'm by myself in this house, I hear doot, 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 doot. Upstairs, I hear footsteps. I'm like, okay. I thought somebody was in the house. I'm like, okay. So when Aaron arrived about 15 minutes later, I said, okay, just stay here, monitor the cameras. And I walked upstairs really carefully. I said, if I don't come down in about 10 minutes or you hear me thud, a loud thud. And so I'm walking around, nothing. Couldn't find anybody in the house. That's not to say somebody didn't just jump out a window, but I think we would have seen them. So, and then as Eric arrived about 10 minutes after that, I was still setting up cameras, and they were sitting down there with me at home base trying to help me set up, and we all heard footsteps. We heard something walking around. And the funny part about that was when I was setting up, I would set up a camera and I'd make a couple noises on the table, setting the cameras down and whatever else. And you'd hear like something very similar happen upstairs, doing the same thing I was, which was interesting. We'll talk more about evidence in the next podcast. We're still in the process of breaking down the video and the audio. I'm hoping to get some kind of cool EVP or something.
We'll also share with you what we found metal detecting.
Yeah, because Amanda did find a few cool things. So again, we really appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. Thank you guys for all the support and all the love. We really, really appreciate it. Please keep listening. Please tell your friends about our podcasts. And if you actually want to see the video of the investigation, our shows are over on our YouTube page. I'll leave a link below here so you can go look at that. And again, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys. Anyways, I also wanted to give a shout out to our friends at the official story. They're really cool. What they talk about is aliens, Bigfoot, Slenderman, and other interesting topics, conspiracy theories. I was finding it interesting that one of the things that they were talking about on one of their podcasts is, did Babe Ruth really pick his shot? Did he actually point? And so that's one of the things that they covered. I'm going to be listening to their podcast here because I just find that awesome. So if you get a chance, go over and listen to their podcast. Great group of people. We really like them. Again, please go over and visit the official story. They are another podcast, and we really appreciate them taking the time earlier to reach out to us, and we had a good conversation with them. So
have a great night.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.